Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first snap of another season.
Nerds roll. Nerds roll.
Oh, my glasses are broken.
Surprise me. My pocket is protected.
Surprise me.
I'm a super nerd.
Surprise me.
Okay.
Excelsior.
I am a super nerd.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy.
I am a former entertainment journalist.
The Star Spangled Band with a plan.
TBJ.
Welcome, congratulations. You did dirt. Ta-da! I got no shame. I am what I like to call a surprise nerd.
Art Star.
I am not an incel. Dark Star.
He's the nerd Gotham City deserves.
And yours truly, call me Joe.
Joe Verse. You said you was giving us leeway because we hadn't gotten two out of there, and then Joe started doing what Joe does. You're like, now I'm going to bring you back.
God bless it.
Doing what Joe does. Let's talk about Frost Giant junk or whatever.
Well, I just,
Matter of fact, Joe started to sit there and say, like, yeah, that was about Hulk's wiener. And then Tiffany's like, okay, and now we'll go back into Thor.
I think of the practicality of the Marvel Universe. Like, is it realistic?
Yeah, nobody's thinking about that. Maybe. There may be some correction. There's probably fan fiction somewhere thinking about it.
There's always.
But it's not here on Nerd Skool, Joe. Yeah. It's not here on Nerd Skool.
What is that? I think it's Rule 34 or something, where they say if it exists, there is porn of it.
Yep.
What?
So,
wait, what? That's the rule.
I don't know the rest of the rules. I don't know where that list is from.
You know how people say, like, there's an app for that.
Yeah.
If something has been created somewhere, someone has decided, we can turn this into an X-rated video.
So in retrospect, it's the multiverse.
So it's kind of follows along with this theme is like kind of what held me up at the Waxhaw Tap House where I was drinking beer. So it's this local bar where there's nobody's in there, but they were doing trivia. And one of their trivia themes, and this girl I talked to afterwards, the girl came up with this. I was like, I need to recruit you for a Nerdy Night Out show. And I told her she's here in Waxhaw, and she went to Carnegie Mellon.
Nice.
She came up with this theme, and it's you have to guess. I will tell you a name, and you tell me if it's a porn star or a My Little Pony. And it was very hard. It was very difficult.
I love it.
And it was very funny. So, with that said, let's start Captain America Episode 3, the third episode of Captain America. We left off with Agent Carter, Haley Atwell. Is it Atwell? Is that right?
Haley Atwell, yeah.
Touching, and Andy talked about she improvised this whole bit where she couldn't believe Chris Evans' body.
Yeah,
and
it was like she said in interviews where she'd never really been that close to a dude that ripped. Okay. So, like she actually had a moment where she had to touch, and they thought they kept that in.
Yeah, and so we talked about that, and I had asked you if Howard Stark being involved in this is part of the comics, and I think you answered that. And my whole thing about this whole super serum bit and the technology, and they're in this room. And they're, all these, meters and buzzes and whatever, the knobs and switches.
Thingamajig.
They did a good job of making this look like it was
old-timey. Yeah.
Old-timey science for the win. Hollywood, 5 stars.
Yes.
Old-timey science is a look. It's an aesthetic.
It is an aesthetic.
Just like steampunk is its own thing, old-timey science.
And so he gets big and muscly, and Agent Carter likes it. Mama likey, I wrote, and I figured that I'll let Tiffany cover this whole bit about Mama likey.
No, I'm not covering anything about Mama likey. I will say I understand her awe.
Yeah, like her liking this is the same thing that Art and Andy and I don't get this necessarily, but Tiffany, you've expressed this about Thor, Chris Hemsworth, and maybe Don Cheadle. Maybe not Don Cheadle, but
No, I never expressed. John Cheadle is a genius, but I'm not going to boo up Don Cheadle. Like we'll hang out. We'll be friends.
I don't think Cheadle's gotten a good shirtless scene yet.
I bet he's got a 6-pack at least. Don Cheadle. That's got.
It's not going to be a Hemsworth level. Okay,
it's not a
Hemsworth level is like. It's what they do. I don't know if you've ever been on the Hemsworth Instagram. Either Hemsworth at this point.
Art has not been on there.
They are they are working on those muscles diligently.
Well, what Art?
I like that nerd casting had the wherewithal to go. All right, because like most fantasy nerd casting up until this point was all about the look.
Yep.
So, like before the MCU started, it was all let's cast wrestlers and bodybuilders and athletes and stuff. Yeah. And they realized it's better to bulk up actual actors than it is to try to get a wrestler and a bodybuilder to act.
Because you're not getting Greg. You're not getting Greg the Hammer Valentine to do Thor acting.
Listen, The Rock may be the only successful wrestler.
Yeah.
To actually transition. Others have done it, but I mean successfully long term and it not be a bit. The Rock may be the one who is best transitioned from an athlete to an actor. You know.
What about Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
Hulk did it, but it was still a shtick. It was still a shtick.
John Cena's trying to do it now.
He is.
We'll see if he
I don't think John Cena just. I don't think John Cena will ever.
No, as I said,
there's something too jarhead dorky about him.
Yeah.
Maybe
but The Rock
too
has
hard.
Maybe
successfully
Boris
transitioned
Zukov.
the bridge between
the Red
the
Rooster Terry Taylor. He's the one that could have done it, but
he could have been a contender.
There was actual wrestler named the Red Rooster, and he was just some dude with his hair spiked up the middle, and it was painted red on top.
But
that's a whole
other thing. Like Terry, and I think I'm now on Terry Taylor's side on this whole thing because like he did have charisma as Terry Taylor in the AWA and all those other ones, and Vince McMahon was hell bent on making somebody the Red Rooster, and he made this guy the Red Rooster, and it ruined his career. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But Art and Andy and I, what we don't understand, Tiffany, it's your chance to clear this up, is like, what's the big deal about abs? Like, we don't think abs are that important, right, guys?
I went and got myself as much abs as I possibly could get.
Yeah.
I stuffed myself full of abs.
Right.
I have so many abs.
Extra abs.
Where did you get those abs from, Andy?
Just the abs. I mean, listen, those arms, that chest, those abs. And you know what happens when your abs are nice and tight? You get that little V formation going down to the treasure box. I mean, it's a great visual.
Yeah, that's
box.
the thing.
Yeah.
That the ladies like is that thing right above the waistline of the pants.
What is it called? It's called the swimmer something.
I don't even know the official name, but it's the whole thing. Like all of them, Hemsworth, Evans, all of them got that.
So it's just kind of pointing down to the junk.
To the treasure. Yeah.
So
it's like treasure below. And you're like, in such beautiful wrapping. Thank you, universe.
How different is that than men objectifying women?
First of all, no one's objectifying Hemsworth. I appreciate his acting.
His V points to a treasure box. That's
listen, it does.
I'm sure right now he's somewhere. He's like feeling like a piece of meat.
He feels like a piece of meat.
Here's
he feels
the trick,
sad.
Though. If Chris Hemsworth was in the room talking to me, I'm not going to dehumanize him. I'm going to listen to him. I just might have a sly smile. In the past, there have been men who just look at women and dehumanize them because then they're just objects. For me, he wouldn't be an object. He is still very much a wonderful actor and a wonderful Thor who happens to have a wonderful wrapping and presence.
Let me ask you this.
You can appreciate the physicality without dismissing the mentality.
Yep. See?
What about, all right, what about this, TBJ? Like, say you see Chris Hemsworth, and you like the body, and he's like, hey, TBJ, let's go out on a little date. You go out on a date, and Chris Hemsworth never stops talking about soup. Like, he's just like, I love all kinds of soups. Soups are my favorite, and soup. And you're like, done. You're like done talking about soup. You're like, okay, how much can you talk about soup? And he's still talking about the intricacies of soup. And you're just wanting to get to the treasure trail thing. And he's like, can we talk about soup some more? And then you're like, finally, like, I don't want to talk about soup, you soup idiot. So doesn't that make you objectifying him a little bit because you're done with the soup talk?
Because I wouldn't be waiting. I don't expect the treasure box. It's nice to acknowledge that it's there. Right. So if we went on the date, first of all, I will note that he is married, so we're not going on a date, but the other Hemsworth brother is not. But first, if we went on a date and all he talked about was soup, and I'm not here for the soup, then I'm not here for the soup, and I'm just going to go home and say, sweetie, you're sweet. But I can only talk about so much soup, and I wouldn't shut him up to get to the treasure. I'm gonna let him talk about soup until I'm done. But it's not because I'm in a rush to get in his pants.
Right.
It's just,
so basically, you're gonna play the long game.
So that's the difference. No. Like Art. If Natalie Portman was talking about soup, you'd listen to soup all day long to get down there. That's the difference, right?
I would probably be them zoned out, so she'd be talking about it.
You would talk about soup. You'd let her talk about soup, and you would finish.
Because I mean, I know I have a gift of zone. Like I can literally zone someone out, let them talk all they want
about soup.
You know, and whatever they want, they wouldn't know that I wasn't really paying that much attention to it. Just like, in my own little world. See? And then when it's time,
That's the difference between you and me. I would let him know, honey bunny, we can't talk about soup no more, and try and redirect him. But I'm not just putting up with soup talk to get a piece of the present.
We've already established that I can get quite complacent, so I'm not going to give up. I'm going to just, 3 hours you talking about whatever you were talking about? Cool. Cue.
I feel like at some point it would become a contest to see how long they can keep talking about soup.
You would turn it into a game.
Or then you start trying to work flirtation into the soup talk. You try to bring in other subtext to talking about soup, but it's still talking about soup. Like,
and this is how soup enthusiasts mate.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Hey, you're looking pretty chunky.
Do you like a nice remoulade in your soup? Maybe a brioche?
God.
A nice crusty ciabatta?
Apologies to soup enthusiasts everywhere.
You never know.
I got some broth. You want to get in my broth?
All right, so back to the movie. We have the bad guy explosion where there was that spy that was in the room, and he steals the serum. And I thought this is the great time to show off the powers and the fun of Captain America getting used to being. He's this little tiny guy that gets to show off getting used to his powers.
Yeah, and I love the whole bit where he's chasing after the car, and he doesn't know how to corner because he's never run this fast in his life, and he goes crashing through the window. It's like, just imagine being in a body that is like a car you've never driven, like trying to drive stick shift in your own body.
Right.
If you don't know how to drive stick
shift. And you're overcorrecting.
Yeah.
Well, and this to me is like the fun of Marvel. Like everybody learning their new powers is like, that's the exciting thing about Marvel and what they do.
So you're big on the origin stories.
I love that. Yeah, when somebody first has powers and the comedy that goes along with it and the action and this is the first time we see that Agent Carter is a badass, where she's shooting at that car and he like saves her, but she's like,
this is the second time we see she's a badass. The first time is when that dude mouthed off to him is when she first showed up and she clocked him in the face
at the training. Yeah,
I guess that's the first time.
She's like, step forward.
I feel like for a woman, this is like you have to note that she is the woman at training, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, she has no choice. Like, she's not taking notes. She's not his secretary. Like, she is a part of watching and training. So you have some instinct that she's already a badass. And so this is another chance for her to showcase it now with a gun.
Yeah.
She's like, you saw me be a badass before, but now I have a gun and I am determined.
Well, and
she was gonna shoot. She would have ended it right there.
She would have, and she was like, "Fuck you for knocking me out." Like I had him, you know.
She's like, I'm not no damsel in distress. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Back up.
Well, Steve does not know what he's doing, so
right?
he has to apologize for trying to save her.
Well, that's what I love, that they could have easily made her been like swooning and thank you, you know, but she was like, asshole, I almost had it, you know, like that was cool.
Yeah. You're getting in the way of my groove.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Steve's first actual action in combat of any sort.
Yeah.
Well, except getting his ass beaten in alleys all the time. But
right.
You
this is
know.
the first time he can do something other than stand back up.
Right.
Well,
And yeah.
At the same time, we have that moment where he uses the foreshadowing bit where he uses the car door as the shield. Like, he's a guy who needs a shield. That was cool. And then we get to the underwater Batmobile thing, which Stark says is way more advanced than anything he has. Hydra's got this thing.
Submarine Hydra's, but he chases the damn thing down.
Yeah. And then we got the Hail Hydra poison, like biting the poison thing.
Suicide cultists.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a very cool thing to add. You know, like it's these crazy murderous, suicide.
That happens in real life. Cyanide tablet hidden right there.
That's nuts.
It's when you're sucked in, when you're all the way in.
Okay, here's my first question for you nerds for the comics. Like, there's this bit about Hydra can no longer grow under Hitler's shadow, and now they're trying to grow outside of Hitler. I asked, and maybe you already answered this in a previous one, but is the whole Hitler bit in comics? And I guess it was, because this was all propaganda, right? So that's my answer there. Is like the Hitler, Captain America against Hitler thing is a comic trope.
That's cover of Captain America comics #1 is Captain America punching Hitler in the mouth.
Yeah, that's right.
It was all about fighting Nazis, and it was very much propaganda, because America had not entered World War II yet.
Right.
When this came out, they were trying to. That's right. I mean, it was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, who I believe, at least Jack Kirby was Jewish as well.
Right.
So I think it was all about, this is a real threat. Let's get America involved and stop this insanity, and let's give you a rah-rah hero to sort of champion that idea.
Yeah. And we talked about it a little bit in I think episode 1, but.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's this is very much. And so there was it was all about fighting Nazis back then. Mm-hmm. That was the war. The war was on.
It was content for a reason. They weren't just Captain America just didn't happen for funsies.
Okay.
But I think even DC Comics was fighting Nazis too. Like I think Superman fought Nazis, Wonder Woman fought Nazis. Yeah.
And there is I bet there's an interesting thing you could do if you went and really analyzed comics and pop culture and as a reflection of society and what's going on.
Yeah.
They're probably college courses.
Yeah.
On that somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it today. Think about how many life events happen and how much is written into TV shows, right?
Yeah.
Like, all these things get written into the thread of whatever time you're in, no matter what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, with Erskine dead, the super soldier thing is dead. So Two-Face and Agent Carter go to London immediately and say no to
Two-Face.
What comic book are we in?
You talking about Tommy Lee?
Oh,
Art Star got it. Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, Two-Face?
I was like, oh, this
Two-Face
is Joe's
from the
thing
80s,
where you have to be the same character no matter
Joe
what
Verse.
you do.
Joe Verse always has to make an appearance.
It's the Joe-verse.
Off with that. I was like, we are not talking about Batman right now, but I get you. I see what you're doing.
So they go to London immediately and say no to Rogers because he's an experiment. All right.
Yep.
Hold on a second.
Is
Can you guys hear my stepson playing his musical instruments in the room next to me?
I can't.
no?
I cannot.
I don't hear anything.
All right, cool. All good.
Oh, I hear it now that you mention it. Now that
I don't
Susie,
hear
now that Susie said,
Hey,
"Okay,
Susie.
thanks," I heard it very distinctly, very in the background. All right, they say no to Rogers because he's an experiment, so they have him do the USA Pride tour. My wife's favorite part with the pinup girls and all.
Of course it is.
And I thought, nice way to introduce the silly costume, like the
Yeah.
way to get in this whole A helmet and all that shit.
Much like WandaVision had the Halloween episode to show
Yeah.
off their comic accurate outfits.
Yeah.
This is I think what made this movie work for me when they had this whole segment of
Yeah.
him being the champion of war bonds and stuff, touring around, being a celebrity, having the exact outfit from the comics to see. Yeah, you needed to change it because this doesn't work.
Yeah.
But it works in this context.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
See,
makes you
and
get
this
it.
is-
Yeah.
Just side note, unless I'm having deja vu, this is why I think we had this bit of the conversation, though, because I remember talking about him on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
But
And
Joe,
as a
you'll have
side
to go
note
back
to-
and edit it. If we've done this part, you can edit it.
As a side note to the side note, if Tiff is correct, she told us so.
I just want you to keep that on the loop no matter what.
It's the Star Spangled Man with a Plan. It's a fabulous song. I made like 3 different ringtones out of that song when this movie came out, which is, when ringtones were a thing. And, or probably.
Ringtones aren't still a thing?
No one answers their phone anymore, and everyone keeps it on
Right.
silent. When you get to a certain
I
age.
don't know the last time anyone was like, hey, these are your special ringtones. Nobody's,
Yeah.
it's not a thing.
But it used to be a thing. And,
It was.
Yeah, and I love the whole montage. I love there's a bit where like he actually smirks while watching himself in the movie serials, the big Captain America movie serials, which are actually a thing. There were actual Captain America serial movies back in the day
I believe it.
in theaters. So like I like that he was actually the star of it, and he kind of liked it a little bit. He was
Right.
Can you imagine being from the 40s and then seeing you? Well, I'm going to get still with the 40s, but just seeing yourself up on a picture show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, he was not immune to that. He was not so,
Yeah.
I need to be a soldier, that he was not able to enjoy the moment he was in. Even though he wasn't doing what he had thought he would do. He was still
What he wanted
serving
to
his
do.
country.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I like the bit where he gets booed by the soldiers, and then he realizes it's the 107th that he's performing in front of, and Bucky is captured. And with Agent...
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a bit right in here where he's drawing himself as like a monkey on a high wire with an umbrella.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Rogers in the comics is actually an artist. Like, he had like a day job for a while as like an artist. I think he might have even drawn like comic strips and newspapers or something like that.
Yeah.
Am I frozen?
No.
No.
Am I frozen?
No, I
Nope.
just couldn't hear you for a minute.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I froze up.
Did
No,
you guys hear?
Nah,
Everybody
Joe.
else.
what'd
Everybody
you
else
just
could hear
hear?
you.
It's just Joe.
Yeah, but like Steve Rogers had a day job where he like
Yeah.
periodically where he was actually artist. I think he wrote comic strips for newspapers or drew them or something like that.
That's where.
So that's an actual talent he has, and that's the only time we've really seen it. Other than there is a deleted scene in the Avengers movie where he's just sort of sitting in a cafe drawing Stark Tower, I think.
That's what I figured. Avengers is the next movie, and that's all we got for
Right.
Phase 1, and then we're done.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna watch that twice. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
you
extra in
Yeah.
there.
We're gonna go ahead and say that up front. Joe.
There's a lot in there.
Like normal.
Well, I'm gonna
just-
take the advice you guys have given me over this is like watch it once for fun, and then watch it for analyzing.
Analyzing. Right the first time.
Well, he gets booed by the soldiers, and then he realizes this is the 107th, and Bucky is captured. And so, with Agent Carter motivation, he decides he's got to fight And this is when the one lady is like, "Where's my helmet?" And he's gone. He's gone, and he's gonna go fight and find Bucky. He's on the plane with Carter and Stark. And here comes
he's still wearing the uniform. I like that he didn't try to get into his regular military. He's wearing the Captain America outfit.
That thing.
He's got the shield
stole
on his back.
that helmet. Yeah. So here I had some Agent Carter questions that maybe by now you guys have already answered these. So let's see. I wrote these down when I was watching it. So my first question was, what's her deal? Why is she British? And so that's the whole thing. It's like, this is an American army. Why do we have a British person? Did they ever explain that?
Well, it's World War II.
The
Allies are more than Americans. There's Americans and British and everyone on the Allied fighting against the Germans. So that's optional for everybody to be there. She was actually created in 1966 when they're retelling Captain America's backstory in the 60s in the Silver Age. After they'd done Frozen him, they sort of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby invented her as someone that he fought alongside then. I don't know if technically, I think maybe they were, because it was always a little weird. I think they were sort of like I don't know if they were fully a romantic item or something back in the comics. I need to do a little more research on that. And they probably retconned it since the movies happened.
Right.
But it's always been a weird thing with her, because when he's on Frozen in the modern day, one of his main love interests is her niece, Sharon Carter, who is in Winter Soldier and Civil War. And
that's weird to me.
It is weird.
Well, because he didn't age. I mean,
but it's gonna be weird because he's a guy that didn't age. Like that's nothing is gonna be normal.
I'm just trying to picture you, Andy. Like, say you become immortal, and then Susie dies, and then 100 years from now, her granddaughter. Like, are you gonna date that granddaughter?
It can't be her granddaughter because he would have been grandpa. It has to be like a niece somewhere over there, distant.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I'm not immortal. I became unconscious.
You're frozen, yeah.
I'm frozen. I didn't experience all this time. I'm still the same person I was now, but suddenly it's 70 years in the future.
You went to bed. You went to bed. You went to sleep when 100 years passed. Like, you don't know 100 years passed, so you're still the same, however old Captain America was in Frozen times.
Right. And then you wake up and here's someone who is like this person you used to love and you used to know, who reminds you of that same general feeling, I guess. But it's...
And is your age now.
Yeah, and you're, end the game aside, you're not going back in time.
You should stop hitting on Susie's niece, is what I'm saying.
Please do not put that out there. This is a
Art. I would use Art as an example, but nobody knows what Art does behind closed doors.
We don't even know if Art is an actual human at this point. We don't know. Okay, we have no idea.
I know, right?
I don't know what Art does.
Don't know.
That's my favorite Tiffany quote.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Can I say?
Yeah.
What instrument is he playing, Andy?
Can you hear it?
What kind of instrument is it?
I think it's an alto sax.
Okay, because I was hearing some sort of melodic thing going on, and I'm like, wait, is that in my ear? I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It was just like, that's why I was wondering, like, maybe it's something I'm hearing outside. Like, that's why I took my. That's why I was like.
Well, Art does do LSD. He does a bunch of LSD before every episode.
Just real trippy, man.
And it's
real trippy.
If a show's going to be accompanied by a slight jazz sax solo, it might as well be someone set in the 40s.
There you go.
I got another Agent Carter question. Has she dated Stark, and were they fondue, as they say? Like,
no,
were you guys fondue? That was his
No, I'm pretty sure Howard Stark was only involved in Captain America's origin for the movie.
Right.
Because all they had here, they had Iron Man, they had Thor.
But he was
had the
Stark.
Hulk.
He was in the Agent Carter show though, so they did
Yeah,
have a lot of
but this is
interaction.
after this movie.
Yeah.
Though.
But was there a
He's only in that
romantic?
show because of this movie.
Did
Oh,
they?
right.
They're not a thing.
They didn't do it in the show either.
No.
They didn't
I think
find
she knew
You
he
know,
was kind of a ladies' man.
Joe, here's a very important lesson in life.
Yeah.
Did you know that men and women can be friends and co-workers
Well,
without
I'm
being attracted to
I'm
each
just
other?
saying, Cap.
I just want to put that out there as a
Cap
teachable
accuses
moment.
them of fonduing, and so I want to know: did they?
Because one, he doesn't know how to talk to women.
Yep.
He barely ever has. Two, he doesn't know what fondue means. Three, he knows Howard Stark is a famous celebrity type.
He's a playboy. Howard Stark's a playboy.
He's Bruce Wayne in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, there we go. So that's the thing. Is he Bruce Wayne? Like, is it the same thing?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't dress up like a bat and punch people.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's just a rich dude with a lot of money and smarts for technology.
Tony is more Bruce
That's
than
their
his
similarities. Yep.
Oh, as Tiffany sips from her Batman mug, I can't let that go.
Listen,
It seems poignant. It seems like every time she sips from that, she's making a point. So
I'm just
from her Val Kilmer Batman mug.
That's the Val Kilmer Batman mug.
I've been drinking out of a MODOK mug the last few weeks, and no one said boo.
Yeah,
I'm also in line with your shirt. I do peep that, Andy. I do peep the shirt.
I mentioned the MODOK the first time I saw you with it. And I noticed it the last time. I was like, I'm not going to keep mentioning it because then it makes it seem like I covered your mug.
We pay attention to you, Andy.
All right.
Yeah, I just know you got a giant head. That's why I thought it was just because you're giant.
Joe doesn't pay attention to you.
No, I don't.
Pay attention.
All right. So, Valkyrie production needs to increase by 70% regardless of prisoners' well-being.
Valkyrie.
Does that mean anything? Always more prisoners.
Valkyrie is in Thor 3, like an actual character, Valkyrie. They're like the winged horsewomen of Asgard. Like the elite. Like Thor even says at one point in Thor Ragnarok, "Oh, I wanted to be a Valkyrie when I was a kid," until I realized it was all women.
The Valkyrie production is this. They're using the prisoners to make the powers, right?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with Thor. This is just the Red Skull's fetish for Norse mythology.
Well, and that's why I said the mustachio prisoner, who we found out, earlier. You said his name, like that guy's got a name.
Dum Dum Dugan. They don't give them names in this, but there's some deleted scenes from this movie that have a little more with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But these guys are mostly invented in the 60s as the Howling Commandos. There were Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos was the name of this thing, which I believe Stan Lee said he created that on a bet, thinking he could make the comic book with the worst name possible still be successful. And so somehow Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos happened. It was a World War II book. It was Nick Fury back in the day, not Sam Jackson, the old school David Hasselhoff Nick Fury.
Oh, right.
Cigar chomping. There's a DC character named Sergeant Rock that I don't know much about. I think he was a World War II hero as well. It was kind of like that. So he had this crew of dudes, these core dudes that eventually became, core SHIELD agents.
And Dum Dum Dugan was one of them?
Yeah. And he used to be a former circus strongman.
Okay.
Which is from Boston, which is, he's got that mustache and he's got that derby hat.
Well, and that actor that plays him is somebody, right? I feel like
Neil
Neil
McDonough.
McDonough. Yeah, he's been on.
He plays Damien Dark on Legends of Tomorrow and a couple seasons of Arrow.
The Street Fighter movie, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that. I know I've seen him in something. Was he on a sitcom? If he's on a sitcom, I know him.
He's been in all sorts of stuff. He's in-demand character actor, I would say.
Yeah, he looks familiar.
Well, but you've also got Gabe Jones, Derek Luke, I believe. He used
Dark Luke's character, his grandson in the future ends up actually being a part of Agents of Shield until they killed him off. But he was kind of instrumental in Agents of Shield.
And there's the French guy. It was Frenchie. He was in there.
Yeah.
And then there's a British dude in this group. They never name, but it's James Montgomery Falsworth, and he actually had a costume identity as Union Jack, who was basically the British Captain America.
I remember that guy, that hero clique, and that character. Yeah.
Yeah, Union Jack. He's basically a British Captain America agent kind of dude.
All right, we're 40 minutes in.
Not to be confused with Captain Britain, who is a different guy.
That's another guy. All right, we're 40 minutes in. I'm going to try to speed through this movie a little bit, and then
rapid fire.
Only stop me if there's something important for me to learn.
Okay, here's something very important right now. The Howling Commandos, more recently, were reinvented as like a monster squad. So they did a bunch of creepy monster guys, like werewolves and Dracula.
In the comic books, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These guys didn't become vampires and werewolves. They just gave that name to a team.
Two vampires and werewolves.
Vampires and werewolves and mummies and shit.
Okay, so that Dum Dum Dugan says he'll have a stick of his own. Cap breaks into the facility in a truck, and he jumps some Hydra guys, steals some Smurf power things. Somebody says, "Who are you supposed to be?"
They shoot blue lasers.
And they say, "Who are you supposed to be?" And this is the first time we hear, "I'm Captain America," right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they sang it in the song.
I guess they did. Soldiers
This is the
escape.
first time he acknowledges out loud.
This is where he says that's what he is.
Yeah.
The soldiers escape. Cap finds Bucky. They have that sex scene where Cap and Bucky have sex.
Is that what we're going to call it? Is that
Red Skull.
where you're going?
We have the Red Skull reveal among the explosions.
But real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Now, real quick. So Bucky, and this is Easter chicken shit.
Yeah, Easter chicken shit.
They're kind of going to, well, not necessarily. I don't think they're going to deal with it, but some of the early reviews, they've been mentioning just about Bucky's sexuality.
Really?
So we've already talked about how Bucky, in the comics idolized Cap or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like how you just mentioned this whole they having sex thing. They were saying how and I don't know. Well, I mean, and this is something we didn't bring up in our Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier review. But they were mentioning how when Bucky was on his date, he mentioned something about tigers or something. And they were saying usually, and I don't. This is only about what I'm going only by what I've read.
I'm trying to remember
usually they say on dating apps, usually men post their profiles posing with tigers and things. And how he was sitting there saying when he was looking on the dating app, was just something about all those tigers. And she kind of looked at him kind of weird or whatever.
Really?
But they've been trying to say that, possibly that Bucky, and it's one of those things where
I feel like that's
they might end up going and running with it. But Bucky is possibly bisexual. That's why he always had that attraction, not attraction, but that strong connection to Cap.
Yeah.
So
I'm telling you,
I just want to throw
when
that in there.
I read those essential Captain Americas, if it wasn't in the 40s, I would have been like, these guys are lovers, and that's okay. Why not have, how groundbreaking
because it was an
would
adult
that?
and a teenager.
Right. Let's start there.
He was a child.
Comics, they were not.
Then it's Michael Jackson territory, so I guess that's not okay. But
that's a no territory.
But why not
I mean,
have...
it's possible. You already have an out character with Deadpool.
Oh, wait, Deadpool's gay?
So I don't know.
He's not out in the movies, but
yeah.
Wait. Deadpool's gay?
He's pansexual.
Pans, there you go.
Really? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. In the comics.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to watch Deadpool 2 again, but
I can't remember.
It's a lot. A lot of the comics are there are a lot of one of the Eternals, which will way down the line, but one of the Eternals is a, I don't want to say a gay god because it sounds weird, but is a gay character. So
really? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So comics
So
are
it wouldn't be the
progressive.
first time, Joe, is what we're saying.
Well, that's cool.
It's out. It's out there. It's just it's one of those things where they never mentioned or they don't make they haven't had him being a
That's the thing.
bisexual male. It's
We're in
just
2021. Who gives a shit anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. Like any sort of male friendship on screen, the gay community has been so underserved by mainstream media in general that they will look. I mean, like historically and currently, like they will look to find.
I mean,
the
66
subtext
Batman.
that serves them.
Yeah, the He-Man.
66
Even if it's
Batman.
not intentional,
That's
yeah.
why I feel like if we could just make like one of the top characters of all time, just make him gay and just like
Iceman gay. You might not you might not view him as a top character, but Iceman's gay.
Iceman's gay.
Iceman's gay.
Well,
Today's
hooray!
one of the 5 original
Joe
X-Men.
is receiving lessons
And the reason he found out that he was gay, well, he didn't find out, but he always knew it. But the way that they
But when
outed
he had
him
the
was
courage
one of
to
his
admit it.
younger selves into like Beast went back and brought the X-Men from the past or whatever, and like himself from the past was already recognized and identifying as gay, and he was wondering why
Really?
this Bobby
This is in the comics.
in the comic, yeah.
Well, how
and he was
that's
wondering
awesome.
he was wondering why this Bobby wasn't out, why he was trying to portray himself as this ladies' man when his real feelings was, he was gay.
Oh my
And
gosh,
and
that's awesome. Gay pride.
And
He
it's
didn't want to be gay and a mutant. That was just like he didn't want to double up on the
Any
general
both.
oppression.
The pressure
And
of
But
it.
then it's-
people.
like even just now, just talking about it, I'm wondering because that was a time where Emma Frost had like probed his mind, and she basically taught him, all of his Omega level mutant stuff that he can do now, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like I'm wondering if she had an inclination that he was gay. But I mean, it's also one of those things where Marvel retcons things, so it's probably never like it's just something that they just decided to do, and
I did just read something about Iceman that like they sort of hinted at that in some old '90s books. Where like he asked Rogue to come home to meet his family was really shitty to him about being a mutant, which is probably another reason he was afraid to come out as well. Because
I mean, if you think about it, it changes the whole dynamic between him and Pete, and Spider-Man's an amazing friend. Like it's almost like a reverse Three's Company.
Three's Company. Oh my god, a reverse Three's Company.
All right, so back to Cat.
Okay.
That was just
So
that
is
wasn't as
that
quick as I thought it was
Firestar?
going to be.
Is Firestar Jack
Today's
Tripper?
Bucky.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, so yeah, I
totally,
had no
totally.
idea. Is this recent in that Iceman's gay?
Relatively within the last 10 years.
I love it.
Well,
I
it's
love
way later
it. I
than
had
that. Probably
no
last
idea.
3
I
or
want to
4.
go buy Iceman comics just to support. Would that
You
support
should.
anything?
Go for it.
I don't know if he just ever had his own book. He
All
might
right,
have had a
so-
one shot here and there. But.
So Red Skull, we have the Red Skull reveal among a bunch of explosions. Cap, jump, explosion scene.
The Red Skull reveal was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how they were going to
Yeah.
make that mask work, but it as well as it could possibly do.
Yeah.
It was really just a mask back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great.
It was good. I gotta say it
Creepy
was good.
AF.
And then Cap has
Perfectly
to
creepy.
jump during that explosion. And he's declared dead, right? They think he's dead, but then he shows up with the prisoners.
Yeah, like because he was his little transponder that he got from Peggy and Howard was broke. He said he couldn't call his ride, which is why they never heard back from him. They were expecting to hear back from him when they didn't.
Right.
So they had to march all those miles to get back to the camp.
And then
But they did. What a
Let's-
homecoming.
Let's hear it for Captain America. Stan Lee thought he'd be taller.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the little
Stanley pop-up.
Stanley cameo.
Stanley cameo, which I did download Stanley's book to listen to see if he's like a horrible person, but the first few chapters
is it
are
out?
just all about his family heritage, and I don't give a shit about it, so I keep falling
Did
asleep.
you download it from the library?
Yeah, through Audible. I have like an Audible subscription or something, and so I listen to it. But
Who
I have a
narrates it?
friend who read it, and he came away mostly with that he was a bit dirty in his dealings with his fellow creators.
Yeah, that's
Which
what I
we
think.
knew.
The big thing about him is that he steals everything, right? Like he takes credit for everything everybody writes. So we think Jack Kirby was a better writer, but Stanley stole it all. Is that right?
Jack Kirby, I think, contributed more because he did the actual nuts and bolts artwork. He, and the artwork in comics is a lot of the storytelling. So there's a lot that his contributions were insanely enormous, and but if he wasn't dead, he should have been the Stan Lee guy. He should have been the guy that got most of the credit.
But are we canceling Stan Lee?
No,
because he was still.
It wasn't a secret. It wasn't a.
Yeah.
No one's like, oh no, this is news to me. If it is news to people that he was a little shady,
but he didn't Epstein anybody.
I don't think so. I mean, there's probably some creepy old man handsy moments from like from the era he was in. Like
he
the
probably thought
era.
he was the comics version of Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
right. But he was always like unbelievably. He knows how to work a room. Mm-hmm. He was very charming, and he was an ambassador for the entire medium of comic books when no one gave a shit.
It's like charisma goes a long way, right? If Kirby was good at what he did, but wasn't exactly an extrovert.
He might have been. I think Jack Kirby was very. I don't know a lot about him, but I feel like he was very pugnacious and very. But he wasn't. Kirby did, I believe it was Kirby, did a parody of Stan Lee when he went to DC Comics later. He introduced a character called Funky Flashman, who was basically Stan Lee as the huckster used car salesman self.
Yeah.
Just kind of making fun of him being that kind of...
Jack Kirby went to DC?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
He created a whole lot of stuff in DC. The whole Snyder Cut, Dark Side of Justice League, the big antagonist. That's all Kirby.
Okay, that's getting too far. I don't know that.
All right, back to your movie.
All right,
back into camp.
Tommy Lee Jones, planning to find Hydra Base, is assembling the best men, and so is Cap. We got the bar scene, the Irish, French, Asian, and black guy, 40s stereotypes. Booby Miles from Friday Night Lights is there. You know who that is? The black guy is Booby Miles.
It's Derek Luke?
Yeah, that's who he means.
I don't know. I only know their character names. I don't know the actor's name.
You don't even know their character's name in this movie. You're naming them.
Well, right away, I yelled out, Booby Miles! Like I was excited about that, because that's great.
So in the Joe verse, like, does he also have a character name and also an alias?
I'm not sure. I am still figuring that out, but
he's got it nailed down.
The character's name is Gabriel Jones.
But I did kind of note that like these are all like sort of stereotypes a little bit, but I don't know. They have that stereotype, but then if it's a good thing, so they got the Irish guy, an Asian guy, like the French guy.
Well, they play with that a little bit. Back in the prison scene, when they're escaping, Dum Dum says something to the Asian guy.
Yeah, he says something. Yeah.
And the guy goes, "I'm from Fresno, dipshit," or something. Like
yeah,
that.
That's
right.
Well, and that guy
Jim Morita.
That Asian guy is. He's from several things. Like he's in
911.
Last Man on Earth or whatever with.
Really?
Will Forte, I think. Like he's a great.
I know he's on 911 right now. That's the only thing I can.
Oh, is he?
Isn't he also in Spider-Man: Homecoming playing the principal of the school or something like that?
Yeah.
That's what I thought he was in another Marvel thing, but I wasn't sure. But
he's playing his own grandson. Or this is him as the grandfather of the principal of Spider-Man School.
But I did like that. It's the 40s, so they have all these different old timey guys that are like in their own, and they kind of come together. And then we have the red dress thing that just wipes it all away. The red dress, and we talked about this a little bit in a previous episode where she's in this red dress, and it's not skimpy. It's not like too revealing. She's fully dressed like a grandma, like our grandparents dressed like this.
A grandma. She has on time appropriate. It is the 40s.
Time appropriate.
Attire.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it is fabulous.
They're used to seeing her in a suit or a military dress or not all dolled up.
Yeah. And she's not even that. I mean, it's not. I like that it's not like objectifying of her at all. Like it's not making her like. But it's beautiful.
This is not your Transformers and Megan Fox, guys.
No,
that's a good.
She's there to like make. She just shows up, makes a quick statement, kind of catches the eye of the person she's trying to catch the eye of, and then she leaves.
Yep,
that's the whole bit.
It catches the eye of everybody. Everybody stops, and it's like that thing. And I talked about this on a previous episode where it seems like the whole scene is sepia. And the only color is her. Like that's what it seems like to me. Maybe if I rewatch, it's wrong. But like they did that.
No,
on purpose.
it's a war-torn landscape.
Yeah,
everything is dreary. It's a dark bar.
Yeah,
everything is dreary. Everyone wears military duds. Those are
greens and browns,
muted earth tones.
Yeah,
and then she shows up as this incredible splash of red.
So basically, what you're saying, Joe, is in this scene when you saw her. Roy Orbison was playing in your head.
I guess. Pretty Woman. That's the only Roy Orbison song I know. Except Traveling Wilburys, whatever that was. But has Haley Atwell done anything since Agent Carter? Has she been in anything else?
Oh, yeah. She had a brief show that didn't last a season on ABC where she played a jerk.
A jerk?
Yeah, it was like I think she was.
Who's in it with her?
Oh, I can't remember. It's a one word. It starts with a C, and it's not constipation, but that's the only one I can think of. But she's like a president's daughter, bratty daughter or something, and she kind of learns, or she's got like a weird criminal history, and then she tries to learn how to be a good person. But
so is she? And she's not like in period dress. Like
she did they did a remake of Howard's End, so she's done period stuff.
And she's done The Duchess. She's been in.
I can't fathom what she looks like.
Fun fact: she's gonna be in the next 2 Mission Impossibles.
No, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. She's like, who is she? She's dating someone that's old.
Thinking.
She's dating someone who's older than her.
Yeah, Conviction is what you're thinking, Andy.
Conviction, yeah.
But yeah,
that
she'll be in Mission Impossible.
Because I've heard Mission Impossible 1 I saw and I was like, oh, okay. Mission Impossible 2 sucked anus. And then I've never watched another one.
This is 7 and 8. Okay, she's currently filming 7 and
apparently
8.
3 through 7 and 8 have picked up the pace and they got a lot more interesting.
I'm sorry. No, if she's in a movie with Tom Cruise, she's dead to me.
Same. Good call. All right, we said we were speeding through this. We didn't.
Yeah.
Let's speed through.
All right, blonde queen from
Game of Thrones.
The blonde queen
Natalie
from
Dormer.
Game of Thrones kisses him. We have a jealous Agent Carter. We have a S.H.I.E.L.D. prototype. Is this an Easter egg? The S.H.I.E.L.D. prototype. I don't remember what that.
The Shields?
Easter eggs?
No, you're talking about the fact that they were in the lab making the shield that becomes his shield.
Oh, the S.H.I.E.L.D. prototype. Is this an Easter egg? I don't know. We got that.
Yeah, in the comics, that shield. I mean, he's had different shields. He had a circle shield when he started, but then I think he had that triangular shield that he was wearing at the beginning. That was one of his early shields in comics as well. And then when they gave him this shield in the comics, it was an alloy of vibranium and adamantium. The
Wolverine
thing in Wolverine's skeleton. But since they didn't have Wolverine at this point, they decided not to mention adamantium and just made it a pure vibranium shield. That's just for the nerds, the metallurgy nerds.
I've got badass montage, Agent Carter in the compass. Does that mean anything to you? I don't know why.
She's the serial pictures of Steve Rogers, Captain America doing his thing. He has her picture in his compass, and that's what warms her up after. She's sitting there watching it. She sees that, and after being mad about the whole kiss thing, she's like, "Oh, I get it." And then Tommy Lee Jones is the closest thing he's got to a smile is when he sees that and looks over at her and gives her like a smirk, but it's Tommy Lee Jones, so his face doesn't do that.
Yeah, right.
So,
does he even know?
You have to see it in his eyes that he's smirking because his face is still a frown.
Yeah, right.
Like his face is so craggy that I don't think he can physically smile.
Well, then I have Red Skull kills the last guy. Do we like Red Skull? That's what I want to ask. Do we like how they
Nazi.
did it?
What? Why would we
how
like
they
him?
did him?
Well, let me not speak for Art Star.
I guess, do we like... do we like how they did Red Skull? Did they pull off Red Skull?
I think this was pretty good. For a weird mad scientist Nazi who has a red skull for a face, I think they did a pretty good job with him.
Yeah, they did the best they could, right?
Yeah, then they got him obsessed with the Tesseract.
Yeah,
which is a huge thing that he's always in the comics. Tesseract is a little different. It's a cosmic cube. It's a whole other thing, but it looks exactly the same. So, and he's always obsessed with that. He's always trying to make that. And when he does make that, he does crazy shit with it.
Yeah,
like switches people's bodies and rewrites Falcon's history and shit like that. So this was very much
well done.
Comics Red Skull.
Yeah.
All right, we got the zipline train scene. Bucky falls. And this is where the thing, like, when I started watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, I forgot that Bucky fell into the ice and was frozen or whatever. But you explained to me on the last episode, or that episode, that they pulled him out during the 40s, and then they did all that shit to him.
I believe Dr. Zola, Arnim Zola, had something to do with that.
And speaking of Zola, we have Zola's last meal. That whole bit. And Red Skull.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's something extremely important, really important that I need to share. Does anyone remember the old Mazola corn oil commercials? Where they sing it, like, I think they're doing probably some bad Native American stereotyping in it, but they sing Mazola in that kind of way. I'm always think of that whenever I think of Arnim Zola. Arnim Zola. I sing it like that in my brain.
I don't think any of us remember that except for you, so...
Yeah,
whenever I hear Andy say Zola, all I hear is he went to full Zola. I hope he goes to full Zola. That's all he
full Zola. That's
full on Zola.
We get 75% Zola in the Winter Soldier, I would say. So, but we'll talk about that when we get to that.
All right.
Because remember, Arnim Zola is a batshit insane creation from comic books.
The character who plays Arnim Zola, Toby Jones, I like that dude. Like, anytime I see him in something, like, he's one of those kind of, I don't know, kind of like warm, fuzzy, like, he just has, like, really good stories. Him and Leslie Jordan. You know who Leslie Jordan
Leslie
is?
Jordan, yeah.
Well, shit.
It's like you just want to have conversations with them and have them talk to you about things just because, like, they look at really,
I keep
really
trying
fun.
to book Leslie Jordan for the comedy festival. I'm trying to get him to do a one-man show, but I don't know if it'll work.
You need me to call him?
Yes.
Let me woo him. I got Southern Belle
energy. Does he actually
energy.
have a one-man show?
I got Southern Belle energy.
He does. He's got like a one-man show he does, but, you know, he got big during the pandemic. Anyway, Red Skull, giant plane with Hydra agents. We find out Cap can't get drunk at this point. Excuse me.
Don't die.
This is when we find out Cap can't get drunk.
Unlike you, who is currently drunk.
I was wondering if Bucky could get drunk.
Now?
I don't. Bucky's got different shit.
He doesn't have the super serum, right? Or does he?
He's been experimenting.
I don't know what he's got. He's got.
We don't know.
He's got a cyborg arm. He's got mental tomfoolery.
Yeah, we don't know.
And how wasted can Wolverine get?
Okay, see, Art, now you're the one taking us on tangents. We keep saying we're speeding through this.
So can Wolverine not get drunk?
See, Joe, you are aiding and abetting his tangent going.
That's because it's Art Star, man. I'm here for Art Star.
Yeah.
All right, let's answer this. Yes, he can get drunk, but he drinks a lot all the time. That's why he's always at a bar getting hammered, because it takes a lot to get him drunk.
All right.
But he does get drunk. There was a whole episode where other X-Men tried to drink him under the table, and it didn't work.
Okay, yeah.
But
it could also be like, look at like Cap's in the bar getting drunk or trying to get drinking, even though he can't get drunk. It could be just him mellowing out. He just loves to sit at the bar with a stogie in his mouth and gruff it. Move on, Bob. You know?
We said, we'll get through the movie quick.
He just doesn't get hangovers.
That's
Art Star should play Wolverine.
No, Wolverine's a good guy, so he's not going to play.
Oh,
but Wolverine will kill you if you have to, though. So.
Yeah, I mean that's logical, but he is not going to err on the side of evil just for funsies.
All right, we got a
Berserker Rage.
We got a knock on the door.
Art Star have a Berserker Rage?
I do. I have a Berserker Rage and a Hulk Smash.
Two sides of the same coin, or perhaps the same side of the same coin.
Same side.
All right, we got
All right, Joe, go ahead.
Knock on their front door. Kick-ass motorcycle scene. They capture Cap. Red Skull can't do this all day. He's got a tight schedule.
He's European.
So am I. Looked like Cap got hit by the Blu-ray. I don't remember what that is.
The Blu-rays were like the Hydra weapons.
Did it hit Cap? I wrote that it looked like Cap got hit by it.
Even if he did, he's Captain America.
Cap barely catches Valkyries thanks to Agent Carter. Valkyries. Thanks to Agent Carter and Tommy Lee Jones, who says, I'm not kissing you. I'm not kissing you. I'm not kissing you. Yeah.
God dang it. I think the last thing he says in the movie is, I'm not kissing you.
Yeah, that was a great part.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Tommy Lee Jones is like under appreciated in this whole thing. I'm not kissing. And your impressions of him, Andy, are pretty spot on.
Look at that. He's making me cry.
Yeah.
I'm not kissing you.
Yeah.
Can you do Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade?
French fried taters.
Some folks call it a sling blade.
I like the way you talk.
So what if...
Tommy Lee Jones has the best part, like the bits earlier in the camp when Steve is trying to find out whether Bucky's dead, and he comes in, I need to know about the 107th, and then he immediately turns to Peggy and says, you and I are going to have a conversation later that you're not going to enjoy. Just the little lines like that.
He's the best one-liners.
I need to know about one man, James Buchanan Barnes, B-A-R. I can spell.
All right. We got bombs labeled for different U.S. cities. We got the exciting fight scene in the sky with the Hydra dummies. And then
that's probably what you paid most attention to.
Yes. This is what I was in for. And then the Red Skull. Oops. What did I do? The Red Skull fight. I've seen the future. There are no flags. I don't know who said that. Remember that? I've seen the future.
You think you fight the war of nations. I have seen the future. There are no flags. Yeah.
No flags. Then the Tesseract melts him into the sky after showing a quick glimpse of Neil deGrasse Tyson land, space, time continuum.
The cosmos. Well, remember, now that we know, this is an Easter chicken, because we didn't know this at the time, but the Tesseract is the space stone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it opens portals, and he gets sucked into that portal, and we don't see him again until Avengers Infinity War.
So, yeah, I think in this, I thought he was gone forever, but he gets sucked into that, right?
It was long enough of a time.
Yeah.
Like, it was such an inconclusive way to get rid of him that you kind of felt he was coming back. But after like a decade rolled on and he didn't show up again, maybe he's just gone because they don't know what to do with him. But then they found a place to bring him back.
But when this movie came out, none of you guys had any idea that there was going to be a Thanos and a 5 rings and all that shit, right?
No.
We
don't know about Thanos until...
And then Marvel didn't do... I mean... They didn't show us, like right now, they keep showing us the timeline. They didn't show us that much at the
No.
time. Like we knew stuff was coming, but they wouldn't show us way down the like now it seems like every day they're announcing some new show or they're moving something back.
Yeah.
And it's like they're giving us a lot and
I
we
also
have
think that has to do with timing, right? We're in the age that social media is it.
Yeah.
So when you say something, it's going to be out, and that's how you get things started, conversations started, and hashtags started. Is the sooner you get it out.
Well, and it's weird because like they're even how we just started Falcon and Winter Soldier, like we don't know too much of like how that's going to end, but then because certain things are getting pushed, but then
when this episode comes out, we will know.
Yeah. But like with retail consumerism, the way it is, it's like today, I don't know, today or the other day, they've already started leaking. Not necessarily leaking. There actually been photos of like Falcon and his capsule. Like they have a toy line already. So it's like just like with Black Widow, how like Black Widow, how it's supposed to come out. They was releasing figures and merch for that they had to like either clearance out and then try to revamp because boom, 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 this coming. The one dude from Bridgerton, he's supposed to be in one of these movies, The Secret Invasion. And these things are like in pre-production. But they're so far out where when this movie came out, they probably had a timeline, but they were only giving us bits and pieces. It wasn't like we could actually sit there and see like a time chart of like where this fits in, where that fits in.
And like they still didn't know this is 4 movies in or so. There's 2 Iron Mans, a Thor, and a Hulk, and this is the 5th movie. And I guess by this point they figured, all right, this is doing well enough. But
and we still didn't even get the posse cut yet.
Yeah, the goal was to get to that, the Avengers. If they could get to Avengers and make that work, that was the big first experiment.
That was it, right? They were all building to that.
Get all these and then bring them together, which before this didn't happen in movies. You didn't.
Right.
It was all like
You've never been able to pull this off before, right? This is like the first time they've built this whole.
I get if you count League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is a comic book, but that's all like public domain heroes.
That's a comic book.
Old pulp heroes.
Yeah. So there's
a
lot of
bad
movies
adaptation
out there.
of a comic book.
I mean,
they're like.
There are movies, there are TV shows that do crossovers or bring, people together. But what Andy is saying, Marvel does it big, but they're the first one to do it this big on such a stage. And so when it was coming, there was a lot of uncertainty about it. And remember, this is like over a decade ago. So it's not like they were well vamped. Social media wasn't what it was. Getting the buzz wasn't what it was. The now streaming life of TV wasn't what it was. Yeah. And so now they have no choice but to tell us. One, because they're fighting you can stream everything everywhere. Okay. Everybody's got a streaming channel. They've got to tell us ahead of time to get us hyped up or people at least on the radar. Because if they wait too late, why would I hold on to Disney Plus? Why would I keep paying you $6.99 a month?
Oh, they're going up tomorrow.
Well, I don't pay it. My sister has it. Listen, I'm on
Tempest. Tempest takes care of that.
Amazon Prime. She carries Disney Plus. Mama carries Netflix. We have a plan in our house. But like, what reason do I have? If I have Disney Plus and I've watched all the old movies, right, and I've watched all the TV shows, what reason do I have to continue paying you unless you tell me I got something coming for you? I used to do that with Netflix. Every month I got something new. Then you're like, well, oh crap, I can't get rid of this streaming service now. Shoot.
Yeah.
They know what listen, Disney ain't dumb.
Hey, so with Netflix, the only reason I would have a Netflix account was like when the Marvel television shows, like, okay, Jessica Jones is premiering, okay, I'm gonna get Netflix. I binge it, cancel Netflix. Daredevil binge it, cancel Netflix. Yeah. It's like other than that, I was like, man, all of these shows are like it's an overload, but then it's like some of it's like, I'm not really watching it. Like even now, like I don't boot up Netflix. So it's almost like,
so. You said boot up.
Yeah, boot up. Boot up.
What?
But yeah,
Are you
so
guys?
I think that's why.
I watch Netflix on my PlayStation, so I have to boot my PlayStation up to watch it.
That's okay. I'm not judging. So, are you guys?
You were judging. Joe.
I was judging. Are you guys mad at this new? Like, I just heard that Black Widow got postponed again. Are you mad?
I mean, we're in a pandemic. I mean, I'm not going to get mad at a movie for trying to wait till when people can actually go to the theater. I mean,
but there's 4 Marvel movies still slated to come out this year.
Yeah.
And they moved like how the Black Widow got Shang-Chi's spot. So Shang-Chi moved
Yeah, so
from
Shang-Chi moved too, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a month afterward. Like
yeah,
something.
dramatically long.
Do we think that it got delayed at all because they're going to incorporate other shit that we've, like WandaVision stuff?
It's in the can.
I think it's also because they're making it a Disney Plus release as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's my other question. It's like a $30
Yeah,
Disney
that's all
Plus.
new. That's most new releases. I just paid that for Raya. Like that's.
You paid that for what?
The new Raya.
You paid. So how does that work? You pay $30 one time and then you own it forever? Is that how it works?
Or you can wait till June when it's free. But I wanted to see it now. So
and
what
you
they do?
You did the $30.
Yeah. So
it seems like what they do is like when it first comes out, they have like a couple of months, and then
I guess
it's for free.
And they tell you when it's gonna be free. Like they do the same thing with Mulan. They knew how it was, $30 until X amount of days. And some people can wait and have patience, and that's great. Yeah. But some of them, like Soul, they did as a general release. They didn't do Soul at a premium.
Yeah, they did.
They did Raya at a premium. There's one more coming they're not doing, and then they're gonna go back.
Luca is it Luca?
Yeah, Luca's not gonna be. Luca's just gonna come out like Soul did.
But here's my question though. If you paid $30, do you get to download it and save it somewhere or not?
I mean, it's just on my account. I don't save anything. It's just on my account as mine. So if I want to log in and watch it, I can.
But if you cancel
it with your friends.
If you cancel Disney Plus in 3 months, do you still have your copy of Raya?
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to keep your membership.
It's a part of my subscription, but I'm not canceling it all.
Well, I know.
So I guess it's one of those. Because I think HBO, if I'm not mistaken, what they did when
for our listeners at home, HBO stands for Home Box Office.
when WW84 came out, notice I said it WW84. Anyway, when it came out, I believe you could watch it for free, and then 2 months later it disappeared. I don't want to say it disappeared, because 2 months later they decided it was going to come out on DVD and movie on demand or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like you lost it with the service, but then 2 months later you could actually buy it to own. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that's what you spend this $30 to get first access at it, but then once they take it off and it becomes available, you then also have to pay again for it.
Now you mean once it goes off Disney? But Disney has no reason to take off Disney movies, right? That's the one benefit of not being like Netflix or HBO. Like Disney owns their stuff.
You know how like Disney,
you don't have to worry about it timing out because it's like
but you know how Disney's usually funny with stuff like that. Like how like back in the day, you like see the commercial like, get this movie for the last time, it's gonna go away forever, because it's going into our vaults. Yeah,
the Disney vault, but they always bring stuff out the vault.
Yeah, but it's like they're trying to goad you into going out and buy this.
Yeah, VHS, they're stoking artificial demand.
Yep.
By
listen, they didn't get that Disney money by playing nice.
Yeah, everybody does that.
Do we even get to the end of the movie? I'm sorry.
We're almost there. Almost there. Hold on, I got a couple more things. So we are at Agent Carter.
We're at the fight in the sky.
They're the fight in the sky, and then Agent Carter says goodbye, kinda, because she realizes this is it, and then he crashes. And
this is all. The whole big jet sequence is like, it's not exactly the way he went into the ice back in the day, but there was an experimental plane that he was on, and that exploded, and he fell into the water and froze.
But like in the old comics, is he in love with her?
In the old comic, it was Baron Zemo. It wasn't the Red Skull that was doing this plane. I think I explained this in the last thing.
And it's also
and Bucky was supposed to have died in that explosion.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like the way that they find them, the way they find the shield in the ice. So like how we saw like in the Incredible Hulk movie or whatever, when it was like I don't want to. Damn it! When it was the.
Art's getting pissed.
There was some kind of Easter egg with Cap's shield in the Hulk movie, but I never saw it. I never found it.
But it's like it was in the it was on the I think it was like the DVD version of it or something.
Yeah.
But anyway,
like I thought it was a deleted scene or something.
But it's one of those things like just watching this movie towards the end. I was wondering like how, like they found this ship, but then it was just weird that like his shield was just like there because I mean it was the way. His shield was like in the movie, not in the movie, in the comic book, the way they found him, like, they seen his body in the ice, but they also seen like the shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like weird just like him to go down in this ship, but yet his shield was found outside or whatever. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying.
I thought it was inside.
It's kind of like weird placement.
I mean, like... They were throwing it around a lot in there, and I think he probably just left it where it was when he went to go try to pilot the ship, and so it stayed wherever it was on the floor.
I guess.
Well, we have the crash.
I'm such a nerd stickler.
Well, I have a nerd question coming up here. So we got the crash, and then Stark finds the Tesseract, but says keep looking for Cap. So my question was that he found the Tesseract in this movie. Does this mean that Stark Industries has been using this Tesseract power all this time? Between the 40s and now?
We don't know a whole lot about I mean SHIELD has Howard Stark eventually is one of the founders of SHIELD.
Right.
And then I think the next time chronologically we know where the Tesseract is, it's in Endgame when they come across it when Tony Stark is back in the 70s trying to find.
But if Howard Stark finds it here at the end in the 40s, are we supposed to believe that all of Stark Industries is based on this Tesseract power or not?
I don't think so because it seems to be locked away.
Before he was already Stark Industries before.
Yeah, but
remember,
he's found
Captain
all
goes
this
to the big Stark thing majig in the beginning. So Stark is I'm not saying he didn't use some of it for his own stuff, but remember he was already killing the game in his world because he went to the expo. He went to Stark Expo already.
He was already an R&D guy.
Yeah.
And I think SHIELD, one of the big conflicts in the Avengers movie, as we see, is that like the council or whatever that kind of runs SHIELD is trying to use the Tesseract to create weapons of mass destruction, and in order to protect themselves against, say, aliens and the Destroyer and anything else that comes after them. So I think it's probably been used in some gross ways or attempted to, but it's also this weird, mysterious, otherworldly thing that maybe they don't fully understand.
Well, I wonder, does it come up in like Agent Carter or anything? Or do they have it ever in there? Or
the post credits scene in Thor, if you recall,
I don't recall,
was Loki possessed the science guy, and Nick Fury is like revealing to him the Tesseract that they still have.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
And they're trying to get him to figure that out. So obviously they're still trying to figure out the Tesseract.
All right.
Even though I think Howard Stark and Captain America will probably go, that's not a good idea. Captain America is very much against it in the Avengers movie, but we'll get to that.
All right. Well, Cap wakes up after 70 years, and he says he had a date.
He doesn't know it's 70 years.
Yeah. And then they have that little controlled environment where he's listening to baseball or whatever, and that was kind of cool. And then I got the deleted scene. Did you guys all watch that deleted scene where they're, they're in the middle of Times Square, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote,
did you call it?
Is this canon? Is it canon? Or deleted scene of that? Is it canon? I guess that means.
What are you talking about?
I guess
I
that
don't
whole.
know what you asked.
I guess I mean. I'm trying to think.
You're
what
talking
I mean.
about when he wakes up and
He
Nick
wakes
Fury
up. He
pulls him
runs
off.
out and he goes to Times Square and
That's not a deleted scene.
Sam
Yeah,
Jackson.
it's the extra credit.
That's in the movie.
There's that bit, but then the deleted scene is extended. Like there's that little bit in the movie, and then there's an extended version.
So not deleted scene, you mean just a little bit after credits when they play a little more.
Well, there's the after credit scene. No, the after credit scene, I guess, is the part where he wakes up and he goes out there. This whole thing is after credits, right? When he wakes up in that controlled environment.
Oh, you talking about the one where he punches the? You know, I'm talking about the part where he punches the punching bag, and he says he talks about the thing.
Man,
Yeah, that's the clip from Avengers.
I'm thinking it's
post-credit
the
scene is
thing
him
where
in
they're
the gym.
where they're in Times Square, and Samuel L. Jackson shows up, and he was like, "Hey, we couldn't tell you because this is a
Trying to bring it
lot,
to you gently.
whatever it is."
Yeah.
But there's a deleted scene on Disney Plus that's extended a little bit longer. But now I can't remember from my notes. I can't remember what I was asking, but it's a little bit longer, and there's a little bit more to it, where he explains a little bit more, but I can't remember what it was. It's more like he's like, "Do you blame me?" Or Samuel L. Jackson says like, "You get it? Why we didn't say anything?" or something like that to him. Like, "Look at Times Square; it's fucking crazy," or something like that. But my question was, is that canon? I don't know why I was asking.
Like when he wakes up, when they thaw him out. So when they thaw him out on the ice. Does he end up at Times Square? You asking?
I don't know what I'm asking. Is it? I said deleted scene of that. Is it canon? Because something's.
Go back and find Sober Joe.
Somebody's have to go watch that because Samuel L. Jackson says something, and I'm like, is that canon? Is that like? I don't know why I wrote that.
So are you asking is the scene itself when he runs out and he's in Times Square if that's canon?
I don't know.
Or is it
what
just
I'm asking. I don't know what I'm asking. That was the post credit scene, like where he runs out in Times Square. Samuel L. Jackson says something.
No, that was pre credits. The post credit scene was a clip from Avengers when he's got the punching bag and he's beating the shit out of it. And then,
are you sure that's this one?
Yeah, because it was like that bit, and then like a little.
That's the post-credit scene. So
it was Avengers hype. Yeah, it was.
Well,
like,
if you look on Disney Plus, they have a deleted scene, and it's an extended version of the Samuel L. Jackson Times Square thing. I know that's true, but I don't understand my question about is this canon because he says something else.
All right, well we'll go watch it.
Here's what we do. Here's what we do.
Like he talks about scrolls or something. I don't know. I just made that up.
We'll figure it out, and then at the beginning of Avengers.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay, yeah. We'll go back. Everybody, your assignment is... I'm giving you an assignment, the teachers.
How are you giving us homework?
You guys go back and watch the deleted scene on Disney Plus of this movie, and I'm telling you, there's like an extended Samuel L. Jackson thing.
We'll do that.
And we can talk about it before we do the next Falcon episode.
Yeah, then I can edit
that in.
And I can add it.
And then edit out this whole stupid conversation where we've been talking about there's a deleted scene for the last 10 minutes.
I don't think you should. I think these little things towards the end are like awesome. Like you're listening, especially if you forget that you said something really weird. You know, I always say something really weird. But like you forget some of the things you say.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Comical.
Can I say this?
Right.
Can I say this? That's my art star. Can I say this?
Or my let me say this real quick. And it's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys let me know
quick following let me say this.
Yeah, my favorite is ta-da, you did some dirt. Ta-da. All my exes can listen.
It's true.
Yeah, that's my good. Yeah. That whole thing. Ta-da, I got no shame. Like that whole thing just was like rolling off the tongue. That was the best. The TBJ isms. And so everybody's like getting little isms as we're going, like things you guys say. Anyway.
So that reminds me.
Yeah.
Just for recording purposes, I am a former entertainment journalist.
Oh, great. Now I have to put this
that
at the
back
beginning.
in. So I'm not saying
All right.
twice, but I'm saying that in the intro.
I'm a famous. Yeah.
I am former That was more me going, how do I even describe what I used to do? Okay, I guess
There you go.
Well,
I'll do this.
But I think if anything, like just the fact of like when we first did the intros, it was almost like all of us had to come up with something kind of really quick
Real
anyway.
quick, yeah.
So you're like, yeah, because I'm every time they're like, and I'm alien, aka Dark Star, and I like look like Dark Star. Like, what the fuck was I talking about?
Exactly.
Hey,
Well, about your true personality.
Well, I think
we need to do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down rate.
yeah, rating or thumbs up
yeah,
out
I
of
live
5
for these
stars.
moments.
5 stars.
These are the moments I live for.
No, I'm gonna let the crankiest of crankies go first.
That's what I was
Alright,
going
go
to
ahead.
say. Let Art Star do
I
it
am
first.
not the crankiest of crankies. I'm the sunshine and delight in this career.
But you did say early when we started this that you were going to be the dissenting voice in not liking this movie so much. So you might be the cranky one in this movie.
Me? No, Captain America's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I can see that. The legacy of the Shield is complicated, as
Yeah.
Falcon says in all the promos
So
for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
it's
But
not-
yeah.
cinematically, they did some great things. It's really trippy watching Chris Evans morph
Yeah.
from I keep staring at that, waiting to spy a quirk in the CGI, but I don't. I think I like the undercurrent of a relationship between those two, like unrequited, unspoken care. It just wasn't one of my favorites. So
I get it.
I'm
is
gonna
one of
sit right in the
mine.
middle with it. I'd give it a 3.
Yep.
It wasn't a bad movie. It was just one of my favorite. So it's a 3.
Being an old white man, I have a fascination with World War II. So, or as much, I think that's required at some point. You hit a certain age, and then suddenly World War II becomes kind of like, wow.
Really?
But no, that was a joke.
Oh.
But I liked the period piece. I liked that they pulled it off because, again, like Thor, how are they going to make Captain America be remotely not dumb and dorky and old-fashioned-y? I mean, they leaned into the old-fashioned, but managed to make it practical enough and gave us all the cheese of Captain America in the perfect context to accept that cheese, and then rolled not cheese out of there. And
rolled.
And Haley Atwell was fantastic. I loved
She's
the
so
understated
good.
relationship. I liked all that. And Tommy Lee Jones just makes me laugh all the time because he's always got something snappy and fun to say. And Hugo Weaving did a great villain, and the fact that Arnim Zola is in it at all made me happy. And it's one of my favorites. It just feels like it stands alone really well, and I like that they have a montage in there of like, we fought Hydra for a long time, so there's lots of more stories you could tell within that montage. If, say, Chris Evans ever decided to pick it up and tell an old story. So yeah, I'd give it a what's the scale? 4 or 5?
5 stars, I guess.
5. Yeah, for me it's a good 4, 4.5.
With his Captain America shirt on.
Yeah, with the cap shirt on. All right, Art Star. Art Star, you were supposed to go first.
I'm gonna keep this simple. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give this, and I'm doing this for you, Joe.
Yes.
I'm gonna give this an Ali,
something in a
and
quarter.
I'm an Ali and Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchett, and Ric Flair.
4.
I'm giving this a 4. I don't know, just like when this came out, like, we already know how I felt about Thor. I was amazed that this was a few months after Thor, but then also, I think I went to the movie to see it twice.
Okay.
Then once it came out, like Captain, like this movie I can watch on heavy rotation easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And it was just, I don't know, I love this movie. Like, it's not a 5, but, it's a strong 4.
Yeah.
A strong 4. That's it.
Yeah, this is a lot of rewatch value for me.
Yeah.
See, I will not be rewatching Captain America. I would not have rewatched it if it wasn't for us talking about it. But
Really?
I don't hate on your opinion. Everyone has their homies, their superheroes, their homies, and maybe Cap is too clean cut for me. I do like a little vengeance. And listen, there's a reason this is my dude because I like a little grit and a little vengeance and
a little grittiness,
a little
Just
more flair.
A little
Well, maybe you
side
like
note.
John Walker then.
A little side
the
note.
hardest.
Growing up, two of the favorite superheroes I liked was Captain America and Batman. Like, to me, they were like both on the same level.
Yeah.
For some reason, they were just always. Yeah,
That's
but they
why-
were still on the same level to me. Like
but
Captain America,
they
Batman.
are so top level comic book. Like they're
And
who
they're both similar in being like peak human ability types.
That's true.
They're not. They don't have superpowers, but they're the best humans can be. Although in this,
Cap's got
Super Soldier Serum gives them a little bit more superpowery than it is in the comic books. For a long time, it was like.
But it's also
human.
it's the comic book world. I mean, Batman is beating Darkseid, so it's like in the comic book world, anyone can do basically anything.
But they did Marvel versus DC back in the 90s. They did
Yeah.
a whole run of Marvel versus DC, and
Yeah.
there was Cap versus Batman.
Yep.
I think it was the JLA Avengers thing, where like they basically just had a fight, and neither one of them could get the upper hand because they were both so good at it. Like it was just the two of them just smacking each other to exhaustion.
I don't know. He's just not my favorite. Joe, what say you?
So my big conundrum with this is that I always dread watching Captain America because I'm like, 40s and ugh, World War II. Ugh. But
you're not old enough, white man, yet.
But every time I watch it, I'm like, shit. Yeah, Haley Atwell's great, and the thing they do with making little tiny Captain America, the CGI into making him big is good, and it's all like even that old lady in the storefront is like awesome. Like,
It always right.
Like even that lady,
she was a badass.
and I mean that little Batmobile underground, like every element of it's great. So I don't know why I always dread watching it. So I would give it a 4, but I'm gonna knock it down to 3.5 just because I still dread the era that it's in, I guess. But they do a good job of everything, like the motorcycle scene and everything. So it's well done. It's just like, but like I'm kind of with Tiffany in that like Captain America is not my favorite guy. Like I'm if I'm gonna choose out of all of them now, and like this is the benefit, like Andy said, of now we have so much nerd stuff. We don't have to watch all the nerd stuff. Like we can watch.
Right.
Like I'll choose to watch. I think I like Iron Man better. Thor, I don't know what I gave that.
There's room for all kinds of heroes, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
We all have the right to like different heroes.
Yeah, and now that we have Avengers, I'm like, I'll watch Avengers. Like Avengers is all of them, you know. So, yeah, I guess 3.5. I don't know. It's
so
like
3.5, 4, and a 4.5. Or did you say?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
That's
so
Captain America, folks.
Yeah, we did it. And thank you for listening to the Nerd School.
Spangled Man with a plan.
Enjoy your queso.
Enjoy it.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's the end of this episode. Excelsior.
No.
TBJ won't say it.
Salute.
Well,
Shout out to
but
Brooklyn
now that
Kylo.
we know Stan Lee is a horrible person, now TBJ looks noble for not saying Excelsior.
Well,
Does
I don't
she?
think he's a horrible person. Listen. I give a lot of thought to people in the time they existed in, right?
Yeah.
Even your trash grandpa was trash back in the day because he lived in a society where white was right. Even if he didn't do anything outwardly, he still benefited from that system, right?
Yeah.
So I would not hate him. Well, I wouldn't be a fan of what he did back in the day, but I wouldn't be like, you're the most evilest person in the world. Like, I have to take into consideration where you existed.
Where it
now,
was.
we'll hate you if you still roll through with those theories today.
Yeah.
Then we have a problem. But you'd have to take into account where he was. Any business in entertainment is dirty AF, right?
Yeah.
There are people stealing ideas from people every day. There are copyright issues everywhere. I wrote this song. No, I wrote this song. You stole that beat from me. Like, it's everywhere. I'm not excusing it, but I think I'm not as shocked. And there's been talks about that before. There's been conversations about the relationship between Kirby and Stan Lee. So I don't think we cancel him. I don't think he's horrible. I think he was a man of the time who got he's worked with some people. He had the bigger, boisterous, celery personality, and he ran with that crap. That's
So
what he did.
that said, you're willing to
also
now
a small
say
pie.
Excelsior.
No. Still not.
I tried, Art Star.
Yeah. And this was a very small pie they were fighting for. It was not a huge business
I love pie.
until recently.
Yeah.
When I say
Relatively
pie,
recently.
you say pie.
Pie is delicious.
Yeah, and I think that has to be taken into consideration too, right? When something
Pie
is
are
new
square.
and coming to, and there's only
Pie
10
are
seats
round.
at the table, I'm gonna fight for the bigger seat. And sometimes people fight dirty. I don't, but some people do.
Now we need to go around. Everybody say your favorite. He's like,
I don't know why, but that the slight snarkiness at the end, it was almost as if, it felt like, I was Vader and like you was Yoda, and it was like this whole like tension in the Force. I felt tension in the Force just now, like that was directed at me.
I mean, a hit dog.
I don't know.
will holler,
I could be wrong.
as the old folks say.
I could be wrong.
Will holler. Okay.
Hey, I mean, I felt that one. It was like, whoa,
I'm just saying. When you air on, look at that light behind me. You see all this brightness? You see it? You see all this ethereal-ish? It's like good light coming at you. Okay? That is me.
That is that.
we
wisdom
can-
coming
we
out
see
for
that
you.
selfie
I'm
light
shooting
in
magic
your
at
glasses.
you. That.
It's the goodness coming at you, Art Star. Dark side. Stay back.
All right, and that's another episode of Nerd School.
Nerds roll.
Excelsior! Oh, my glasses are broken.
My pocket is protected.
Okay.
They say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end in racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd School Podcast.
Nerd School is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.
And now we're each going to go around. We're going to go around the horn. And everybody's going to say their favorite pie.
Chocolate, peanut butter. Which is my favorite everything.
Pecan.
Sweet potato.
Oh, okay.
Sweet potato is probably my second. It's between the two. Pecan and sweet potato.
Pecan.
So here's the thing.
I'm so disappointed in that.
You can't
You're
have
Southern.
anybody's pecan pie.
Art's about to argue about pie right now. Art's about to argue. Here's the thing about
No,
pie.
that's not arguing. This is a serious question. You're a Southern girl,
Yes.
right? So, did you differentiate between pecan and pecan?
Hey, there we go. There it is.
It depends on what I'm talking about. Sometimes you got to go pick up some pecans. But if it's a pie, it's always going to be a pecan pie.
Yeah, that's the difference.
That pecan is always going to come out on pie.
So, did you make pecan pie with pecans or pecans?
I don't make ish. I don't cook. But I don't know. I would generally say, I was like, go grab the pecan. No, I'll probably say go grab the pecans. But it's a pecan pie because it's just It's just who I am.
All right, what'd you rather do? Eat a pecan pie or make out with Tom Cruise? Pecan pie or make out with Tom Cruise?
Okay, I'm never making out with Tom Cruise. Okay?
Me neither.
Good job, Andy.
What about you, Art?
I'm backing you up on that.
No, I wouldn't. I drink a beer with him now.
All right. Would you rather drink a beer with Tom Cruise or eat a sweet potato pie?
I'll probably drink a beer with Tom Cruise.
Wow.
You're so weird.
Because you can always. What about yours, Joe? What's your favorite pie? 3.14.
Yeah, that is. Pie. Yeah, pizza pie.
There you go.
That sounds very northern of you.
I love pizza. Pizza's good.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. And
pizza is a pie. It's a pizza pie. A pizza pie.
I'm gonna end it with that.